Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. We'll just wait for a couple of minutes and start in a bit. It's 11 o'clock. Welcome, everyone. I am Ritika Ramesh, the marketing lead at Toromont Material Handling. On behalf of Toromont, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all of you today for our webinar, Understanding the Automation Journey in Material Handling. We're so glad you're here today. Today's session will walk you through how to begin your automation journey, and we'll also share a real-life use case from a company that successfully implemented automation in their material handling fleet. Our goal is to give you practical insights and a clearer picture of what this journey can look like in action. Here's how the session will run. The first 45 minutes will be a presentation covering key concepts and a case study. Then we'll move into a 15-minute question and answer session. The chat box is open throughout, but we encourage you to hold your questions until the question and answer session. During the question and answer session, they'll go through your questions and answer as many as time allows. We'll also be running a couple of polls during the session to help us better understand our audience today. So make sure you're listening. Don't worry, there's no pop-up quiz, just a little audience participation. We're excited to be joined by two fantastic speakers today, Hariprasad Manavalan from Toromont Material Handling, Canada, and James Fox from Rocrich, United States. They'll introduce themselves shortly before we dive into the presentation. Thank you for joining us, and we're looking forward to a great session.
Thanks, Rebecca. Hi, everyone. Appreciate you participating today and wanting to learn a little bit more. I'm James Fox, Regional Sales Manager with Rocrich. So briefly, Rocrich serves as the arm for both the Jungheinrich and the Rokla AGV and automation portfolios for North America. And I've been with the team here for the last 3 years. So thanks again. Go ahead, Harry.
Thank you, Ritika. Thank you, James. Hi, everyone. I'm Hariprasad Manavalan, team leader for the Major Accounts and Solutions team here at Toromont. I have over 15 years of experience in managing key accounts and delivering large-scale projects and contracts. At Toromont, we pride ourselves on providing tailored material handling solutions that align with our customers' unique goals. Automation has become a critical enabler in this space of late, and I'm excited to connect with all of you today to explore how it can add value to your operations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hari and James, for those introductions. Now that you've met our speakers, we'd love to get to know you a little better. Let's start with a quick poll to see where everyone is in their automation journey. This will help us tailor the discussion and examples to better match your current stage. No pressure, just pick the option that best describes where you're at, and don't worry, no wrong answers here. I'll give you a few more seconds. Okay, I'll close the poll now. Thank you. Okay, we see that majority of our respondents have told that they're just exploring or not sure. That's great to know. That's exactly why we're all here today, to help you get started and make sense of what automation could look like in your operation. We are especially eager to hear your questions during the Q&A, so please don't be shy.
Thank you, Ritika. That's an interesting finding in the poll that most of the participants are at the very early stages of the automation journey. Before we get into the details of the automation journey, let's try to understand what's driving automation of late. The following are the key industry and labor trends that is accelerating the adoption of automation across North America. In today's North American labor landscape, severe skilled labor shortages and rising labor costs are pushing companies to rethink their operations. High employee turnover and workforce instability make it difficult to maintain consistent productivity. To stay competitive, businesses are investing in upskilling, workforce transformation, and technology-driven development. Of late, due to the tariff situation, reshoring efforts and the need for supply chain resilience further amplify the demand for automation. The next important trend is Industry 4.0 and smart factories. More and more companies are adapting towards this particular trend. In the era of Industry 4.0, where digital technologies like AI, machine learning, Internet of Things revolutionize manufacturing and industrial operations, automation plays a pivotal role in enabling seamless workflows and building smart and connected factories. Another major trend is e-commerce surge. As e-commerce continue to surge, the demand for faster, more accurate fulfillment is reshaping logistics. Automation empowers warehouses to scale effortlessly, accelerating accurate order processing, reducing errors, and ensuring customers get what they want when they want it. The last but not the least is sustainability. With all the talk about carbon emission reduction and zero waste and all those initiatives many companies are embarking upon, to achieve today's sustainability targets like cutting carbon emissions, reducing waste, and optimizing energy use, automation is not just helpful, but it is essential. It helps in material handling route optimization, reduction in idle time, and optimizing charging functions for electric AGVs while extending the life of the assets. Why automate? That's a very seems to be a very obvious question based on the trends we saw, but there are some misconceptions. We want to just clarify it out here. The common need for automation is for increased efficiency and throughput. Most organizations are turning to automation for all these reasons. While it's a common perception that manual forklift operations can move more pallets per hour compared to autonomous solutions, the reality is that automation delivers far greater value through end-to-end process efficiency. Automated systems provide consistent, predictable, and reliable throughput with added benefits of scalability and enhanced safety, ensuring smoother operations and reducing risk across the board. Another important reason why people automate or companies automate is for accuracy and consistency. Automation enhances both of them in especially repetitive and multi-shift operations, eliminating the reliance on skilled labor availability and due to labor turnover, extensive training activities, or even concerns about safety like operator fatigue. Automation also significantly enhances warehouse safety by eliminating many of the risks associated with manual forklift operations. Unlike human drivers, AGVs don't suffer from fatigue, distraction, or inconsistent behavior across the shifts, making it an ideal solution for multi-shift and overnight operations. The most important reason, again, to adapt automation is for integration. Automation can seamlessly integrate with your existing systems like warehouse management system, ERP, or MES, manufacturing execution system, to enable real-time tracking of inventory, performance insights, and smarter forecasting, helping preventing stockouts and optimizing inventory flow. Automation, more recently, is enabling smarter space utilization. Companies are increasing capacity without expanding their footprint by maximizing both their vertical and horizontal storage. Or in other words, moving towards more and more denser warehouses and taller, higher ceiling warehouses with very narrow aisle applications. Now, many customers wouldn't know that there are so many autonomous solutions for very narrow aisle applications as well. Like, for example, VNA turret trucks or ASRS, which can make high density storage efficient and accessible. Let's look at a few common workflows among a warehouse and then a manufacturing facility. When you look at a warehouse, you understand the common material handling flows. The common material handling flows are truck unloading in the receiving area, then staging for putaways, and then we have the putaways for long-term storage and the racking, and then racking retrievals for replenishment of goods, or racking replenishment for pallet picking, or racking replenishment for order picking from the pallet, right? Or even for pallets moved from the racking location to the staging area and the outbound, and then for dispatch through trailers. These are the common material handling flows. Automation can be used in almost most of the applications here. Either it could be AGV stacker or an AGV reach truck, which can do the job, or it's a combination of AGV stacker and autonomous VNA for more denser warehouses, or even it could be a combination of conveyor automation in combination with an autonomous VNA solution. Let's look at another example for a manufacturing setup. We have chosen a paper mill conversion facility just to show the complexity in the operations and how still AGVs can be used in this application. Again, the common workflows are from, I would say, receiving area, inbound to the processing area, or inbound to warehouse, warehouse to the processing area, and then from the processing area or the warehouse to further processing of finished goods and finished goods to outbound. This is the common workflows what we see. Here, the thing to note is there are AGVs available for handling difficult application like loads, like rolls, which can come in different shapes, different sizes, and different, meaning I mean different dimensions and different sizes, and also different weights. And AGVs can handle all of them, and it also requires some additional functions like rotation and tilt. So AGVs can also, while being autonomous, can also perform those functions seamlessly. So for any project, before we start, we have to do a feasibility study. For automation projects, common feasibility checks are always been labor cost savings, but it's not the only thing which many companies look forward to. There are so many things the companies can adapt to ensure the automation project has a good feasibility and has a better ROI and payback. Just to give a broad example, if you are having a single shift operations and you're looking to adapt automation, you should expect for a longer payback period. The more the volume and the more the frequency of the material handling flow, the more will be the ROI using automation. For example, a two-shift operations could be having a ROI or a payback within 4 years, whereas a three-shift operation, a true 24/7 operation, would have a payback within 2 years. So again, the basics are the more the volume and the more repetitive the task is, automation works really well over there, and the more labor intensive it is. And also, it is advisable for customers to look at other process inefficiencies and order fulfillment inefficiencies and product damages and safety risks posed by manual operations, because those also help in putting the right feasibility study or the ROI for your automation project. And last but not the least, automation also provides strategic value for scalability for future growth. That also has to be taken into consideration for looking at the ROI for automation projects. Thank you so much. Now I'll pass it on to James to talk about a very interesting case study.
Yeah, thank you, Harry. And here in a moment, I'll get into a little more detail on who is Rocrich and explain some details about our portfolio and our solutions in general. But we'll start out with highlighting a couple of points here from a recent customer case study. So this was a 3PL for a confectionery customer in the food and beverage space. And this project was recently deployed. It went live earlier this year in April, so it's been live and running full steam for the last few months. But to point out a couple of bullets at the top, so in terms of the customer's requests and goals for the project, they wanted to obviously reduce their manual labor, their dependency on the manual labor for the movement of goods throughout the process, as well as also damage and loss of product due to the manual handling of the goods. Also, it was important for them to integrate the system into their existing warehouse, minimizing the impact on their daily workflows. And then also efficiency, reliability, and safety were particular concerns and important points for the customer with this type of system. So the existing setup, a little detail on the existing setup of the space, was that they had 27 very narrow aisles of rack storage with 30,000 pallet positions. And that was operated manually using 7 manual man-up B&A turret trucks, and then also 8 to 9 standard forklifts handling the pallet transfer to and from the handover points to those V&A rack aisles. So highlighting some of the details of the Rocrich solution from the equipment standpoint, we implemented 7 of the Jungheinrich EKX 516A. That's a very narrow aisle automated turret truck. You can see a picture of that vehicle to the right of the screen, as well as 12 of the Jungheinrich EKS 215A. It's a counterbalance stacker AGV. So those were the vehicles that replaced the forklifts that shuttled loads to and from the rack environment. It's important to note that this solution allowed for 24/7 operation, 24/7 seamless operation with in-aisle bus bar charging of the V&A trucks. So a highlight of this particular energy concept is that the turret truck actually contacts a charging system that's installed within the rack aisles themselves, and so that it is charging and maintaining its status of charge while it drives in the aisle, while it executes the task. So no downtime due to charging with that solution. Very high performance and capable of high throughput. And the area was monitored with area access control, also lending to some increased performance in operable speeds of the trucks within that system. So then some of the customer benefits that have been realized are increased efficiency, fewer damages to the loads that they've already been realizing, significant reduction in their manual labor as part of this process. Planning and implementation from a single source was a benefit that they received between Rocrich and our network of partners to implement the solution. And again, due to some of the other points I mentioned earlier, they were able to achieve the maximum throughput and very high level of throughput out of that type of a system.
Thank you for sharing, Hari and James. Now let's talk about challenges. We know that automation can be exciting, but it also has its fair share of hurdles. Take a moment to let us know what your biggest challenge is when it comes to automation. It could be budget, integration, or just figuring out where to start. We would like to know. I'll launch a poll shortly. Give you a few more seconds. And I'll close the poll just a moment. Yep.
It looks like the most common response here to the poll is just a high investment cost of these types of solutions. So, yep, it's no secret that obviously automation can have an initial investment cost that's high, but we're here to help work that through, help you work through that, as well as evaluating ROI and helping you realize the ROI. And additionally, starting by evaluating your current processes and working with you in terms of a consultative approach to analyze what makes the most sense to automate and where does it make sense to start. So with that being said, a good transition into a couple of key points here about different aspects of a facility process or environment that lend well or are going to be best suited for automation. So one to point out would be the floors. So the condition, the smoothness, and the evenness of the floors is particularly important for automated vehicle systems. And as we get into discussions on particular projects and do site visits and understand more about your unique facility, we provide certain specifications on floor requirements, and just important to know that obviously the amount of levelness and evenness of the floor tends to be more important once we're talking about lifting loads to considerable lift heights. So all of that's evaluated kind of case by case, depending on other aspects of the application. There are some standard and typical floor requirements in general as well. And then moving on into the loads and the goods that we would be handling on the vehicle. Uniformity and standardization of pallets or load types is important and best suited for automation when there are standardized load types and there's some consistency in terms of the loads that a particular vehicle is handling for a process. All of which is evaluated by our experts. And then clear aisles. So maintaining clear travel aisles and pathways for vehicles, and more so just understanding, again, certain nuances of your material flows within your facility. And then our team can provide some guidance, some recommendations, and also tailor the solution, to those specific nuances of how material flows through your own facility. Predictable and segmented zones can become important. Again, just kind of understanding what are the adjacent material flows, what are your other manual processes that happen in and around and perhaps in shared spaces with where an automation solution and automated vehicles would operate. Also, the signal strength and the quality of your Wi-Fi network has some importance. We have IT specifications and network requirement specifications, just as the vehicles will communicate over that network. So just ensuring that there's a strong coverage of the network throughout the operable area of where the vehicles would be. And just understanding, again, nuances of the space and how and where there's clarity provided to particular navigation aids that may be needed by the trucks. And again, kind of clear traffic routes, kind of going back to mainly just understanding your space in particular and us evaluating and tailoring a solution that can work with your space or provide recommendations of process improvement around that. So one thing that it's definitely important to note is that with an AGV or an automation solution, it's not just about the truck and it's not just about the hardware. That's one aspect of it, but the more important aspect of a solution for automation is going to be on the software and the integration side and everything behind the scenes and how we integrate to your existing systems and processes. So when we talk about system software, so that's, again, the brains behind the machine, and the software orchestrated in the background is helping to determine particular routes, priorities, and task assignment, as well as the order management and task allocation to the appropriate truck within the fleet to complete that task. Also, real-time decision-making, some capabilities for systems to be adaptable to delays and changes in your process. Also, priority changes. So with prioritization rules of tasks and some things that can be built into the software side of things to help with that. Also, having data available at your fingertips. So data for various system KPIs, utilization rates, performance rates of the trucks and the system. So that type of data is available, and there's a number of different reporting tools and dashboards that are offered with our systems and are part of our systems. So you're able to track that, you're able to pull that up at any given time. And then in terms of being an integration powerhouse, so the software can be on the software and the level of integration can be across a spectrum. We can have systems that are more standalone and execute orders without the need to be ingrained into your ERP or WMS systems, but we can also be fully integrated with those systems, those ERP and WMS systems that are managing and tracking your inventory, tracking your particular storage locations of goods, and communicating those tasks back and forth to our software. And that also kind of lends to the point about scalability. Our systems can be scaled and grow and expanded upon, and we can also obviously scale and expand the level of integration from more standalone system in nature to being completely integrated with your WMS or your host systems. So now to provide a little bit of overview on Rocrich and then start to get into our portfolio and talk about our trucks as part of the systems. So Rocrich is a joint venture between two global leaders in the material handling space. So we have Rocrich, which is part of the Logisnext group, and then we also have Jungheinrich. So each of these manufacturers of material handling equipment and manufacturers of automated vehicles are our direct parent companies, and Rocrich serves as the arm for both those companies to offer these solutions in the North American market. So one particular important thing to point out here, a bit of a differentiator, is the 570 plus partner locations across North America. So Toromont and all of their branch locations being a prime example of our strong, one of our strong partners in Canada and serving that market. That vast network of those partner locations allow us to offer local service and support, local maintenance support for the systems that we implement and install. And just kind of highlighting some projects in terms of kind of a footprint of our install base. So I mentioned the Jungheinrich and Rocrich names are global material handling providers and manufacturers. So from the global standpoint, we're talking automated vehicles and AGVs, more than 15,000 in operation worldwide. And then as we turn specific here to our North American market, we have over 400 vehicles in operation across North America, spanning more than 60 plus project and customer sites. You can see we have some examples, a handful of examples throughout the Montreal and the Quebec area, as well as in and around the Toronto and Ontario area as well as the other blips seen on the map there. Also important to know about Rocrich is that on our staff, our core team members are going to be comprised of the sales folks such as myself, but as well as the operational execution team members. So we have automation engineers, commissioning engineers, software engineers, as well as service and support engineers and technicians that are all part of our core team. So we're involved in every aspect of the project, from the design, the implementation, the commissioning of the systems, and the after sales support from the technical standpoint, and then in conjunction with our strong partners like Toromont for the maintenance and everything else from the after sales side as well. So now we'll get into a little bit about the portfolio. We'll highlight some examples of use cases and application scenarios where our vehicles fit into within your facilities. So we have vehicles that can handle goods, transferring goods from conveyor to conveyor locations, and picking and placing goods onto conveyors. We have a number of different fork style vehicles that can handle loads and goods delivered or picked in a block storage environment or deep lane environment, as well as capable of load on load stacking in that type of environment as well. We also have some vehicles that have some specialized clamp attachments that can handle unique loads like paper rolls, large roll type goods, and other clamp attachments as well. Also towing, and then our fork style vehicles can handle put away or pick and drop tasks interfacing with a number of different racking configurations, whether that's rows and aisles of single selective rack or gravity rack or drive-in rack. We can explore all of those types of solutions. And then also VNA, highlighted in the bottom middle there. So the very narrow aisle, high density storage. We have some turret trucks for those types of environments. So here's a brief overlook and kind of the 10,000 foot view of the portfolio. So when it comes to the hardware and the truck side of things, we have a number of different fork style stackers. So these are in the upper left-hand corner. We have 3 examples of different counterbalance stackers. You can see on all the specs here, you see some baseline figures for residual weight capacity and also some maximum lift heights of different configurations for those truck types. So that's provided. But so again, top left, we have some counterbalance stackers. We also have a reach truck, a moving mast reach truck. We have a vehicle for just floor-to-floor pallet transport, tugging and tow tractor for automated milk runs and tugger type runs. Vehicles with specialized clamp attachments, such as a counterbalance clamp. The image seen up there in the upper right would be an example of a bail clamp, a flat bail clamp. And then we get into some specialized vehicle types with attachments to handle rolls. So we have the straddle clamp and other variations of that truck to handle rolls with that type of a clamp attachment, either in vertical orientation or that vehicle can also rotate the roll. And then also another example of handling a roll in that horizontal orientation would be with a reel fork. So we have the reel fork vehicle. And you can see the 2 examples of the very narrow aisle turret truck AGVs with swiveling forks. And then we talked about conveyors. So a unique solution could be to have an automated vehicle that has a driven conveyor attachment or segments, multiple segments of driven conveyor attachment onto it as well for a conveyor to conveyor transfer. So a quick look at the portfolio. Hope that was helpful to understand. And now just kind of hitting on some of the important things for us to understand when we're evaluating a solution, we're evaluating an application. So we need to understand what's the nature of your facility and what is the layout of that facility. So talking through and understanding your facility layout, identifying where pick and drop positions would be for a particular process of your material flows, so that we can also understand and calculate the travel distances between those two. And then also understanding the throughput. So defining a particular throughput deliverable for any one process, number of pallets per hour or pallets per shift that need moved. We'll utilize that information to size the fleet. And then also equally important and very important in any automation project is understanding all of the details of the load that we're to be handling with that vehicle. So first and foremost, safety is the most important. So on our end, we evaluate at a deep level all of the nuances and details of the load or loads that would be within the scope to automate and ensure that we're providing a solution that can handle those loads on the vehicle in a safe manner, and also a successful and repeatable manner as well. So you can see the example with the measurements to the right there of a palletized load, both particular dimensions and details of both the pallet as well as the goods on the pallet, and the overall weight of the load are important for us to analyze and collect. So we'll do that through our process of discovery and in conversation with you and as we evaluate your site. But that's the type of information that's important for us to gather. Photos of your loads are always helpful to receive.
Thank you, James, for an insightful overview of the case study, the AGV portfolio, and the key steps in the customer automation journey. At Toromont, we are proud to be the Canadian partners for Rocrich AGV Solutions. Toromont is a publicly traded Canadian company with $5 billion in annual revenue, structured into 6 distinct divisions. Toromont CAT, one of the largest Caterpillar dealers globally with a strong focus on the construction and the mining sectors. Toromont Energy specializes in the supply and maintenance of power plants. Battlefield and Job Site, our 2 robust equipment rental organizations supporting industries and customers across Eastern Canada with construction equipment and tool rentals. Simcoe, a leader in refrigeration solutions for both industrial and recreational applications. SciTech, our own technology driven division focused on remote condition monitoring, machine control, and telematics. Toromont Material Handling, from which the group we are here from, is dedicated to delivering comprehensive material handling solutions. We have a team of 7,700 employees across Toromont, operating across 165 plus branches in 8 provinces and 1 territory, with a strong emphasis on product support. Toromont Material Handling is the official dealer partner for LogisNext Americas. LogisNext is headquartered in Houston, Texas. Within this division, we offer a comprehensive range of forklift solutions under the Caterpillar, Mitsubishi, Young-Heinrich, and Unicarrier brands. Toromont, as a group, entered the material handling space through the acquisition of Hewitt Material Handling in 2017. Since then, we have made significant investments in this business and have consistently been recognized as a dealer of excellence by LogisNext. We provide sales and service for both new and used equipment, backed by a robust rental fleet of over 2,000 plus units in Eastern Canada. Our focus remains on delivering reliable, high-performance solutions that meet the evolving needs of our customers. At Toromont Material Handling, we are well positioned to support our customers across a wide range of needs, from small to large material handling fleets, AGV solutions, storage systems, and up to advanced energy solutions or technologies. We actively drive key initiatives along with our customers, such as electrification and automation, helping our customers stay ahead in a rapidly evolving industry. We take pride in being a one-stop solution provider for all material handling requirements. Our commitment is backed by a strong service network with 230 plus dedicated material handling technicians operating out of 15 branches across Eastern Canada, and a robust part supply chain with high fulfillment rates to ensure minimal downtime for our customers. For large accounts, we also offer comprehensive fleet management solutions, enabling better visibility, control, and optimization of operations. So in a nutshell, we are well equipped to support your automation journey at whichever stage you are in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I saw that a hand went up. Please wait till the Q&A session, which will be shortly. We'll have the final poll of the day. We would like to know if you would be interested in a follow-up consultation to assess your facilities' automation potential or even for a future project. I'll launch a poll now. I'll give you a few more seconds. Okay, I'll be closing the poll. Okay, the majority of you say maybe. That's totally understandable. Sometimes you need a bit more information before making that huge call. Feel free to reach out to us after the session if you'd like to explore further. Now we'll have the Q&A session for the next 15 minutes to answer as many questions as we can. If you haven't already, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box now. We'll go through them and try to cover a range of topics. If we don't get to your question today, don't worry, we'll follow up after the session. Thank you.
I think there's a question from Kevin. He has a raised hand. Kevin, it would be great if you can post the question on the chat so we could answer them, just because the format of the webinar is set that way.
So it looks like there's one that was posted. So asking about a minimum particle count or certain dust level thresholds that the robots can tolerate, and how well do they perform in dusty environments. So for the vehicles within our portfolio, they utilize a number of different sensors as part of the safety system to detect obstacles, detect personnel. So particularly dirty and dusty environments can have an impact on the sensors, just in terms of the dust in the environment being detected as a potential obstacle. So there may be, we can still offer solutions in an environment that where dust is present in the air. It's just a matter of kind of understanding the level, and perhaps your housekeeping measures, right, could help mitigate that. And I see another one about when assessing if automation is a good fit, what are some of the key ROI drivers that we commonly see related to the solution offerings? So obviously, the labor impact and potential for reduction in headcount is a large one. So as we work through answering questions about the ROI or supporting you in calculating the ROI, right, understanding your fully burdened rate for replacing headcount is factored in, as well as maintenance and serviceability of your existing manual equipment. Whereas the maintenance needed on an automated vehicle is going to be a lot more consistent and much less wear and tear on the truck itself, just due to the routine movements of the trucks and very calculated, predictable movement of the truck and all of its parts. Also, product loss and damage, and errors and omissions in your handling are things to factor in as well.
Just to add to that particular point on the ROI, I'm not sure if many customers would know this. There are, I would say, financing partners who provide leasing options for the whole automation project, not just on the equipment, but also including the soft costs and engineering costs. So in that way, it has helped many customers to adapt automation much quicker compared to looking at a very high initial capital investment. So just another food for thought.
I'll point out another one. I see a question about asking if integration with our Arduino with the automated products. I'm not familiar on what that would be. So perhaps that could be a particular follow-up, and we can understand more information there. But also another question that I see that jumps out: are the AGVs capable of doing a physical scan of the pallet for any damages? So yes, part of the standard configuration and sensor functionality would be that we scan the pallet and we scan the fork entry point of the load, and we're looking for damaged or broken boards, and we're utilizing sensors to capture information. Some of that is just sensors to detect those broken boards or obstructions of the fork pocket. Some of the vehicles can be outfitted with a 2D image scanner to scan the fork pocket and make some decisions based on the information that we receive as well. And I see another question here about asking how the AGVs are guided, if they're primarily by line following systems or rack-based sensors, or integrated approach using both. So it depends on the vehicle type. So when we talk about a very narrow aisle B&A turret truck solutions, those trucks are often guided with wire guidance in the floor within that rack environment. But when we talk about a number of our other vehicle types and transport trucks that have forks or clamps or things of that nature, those are primarily guided by laser navigation without any infrastructure in the floor. So no wires in the floor or magnetic tape or anything like that. They guide themselves with a layout that we map out and can define as part of the system. And then there's also a question about whether or not the trucks can pick up loads and handle loads without pallets, like a slip sheet, for example. So we can handle a number of different load types. So a pallet in a palletized good is one example. It's obviously common for a fork type vehicle, but also those vehicles can handle a number of different bins and containers and racks that may have a fork pocket or provide means of fork entry to handle the good. In terms of something directly just on a slip sheet, we could explore one of our clamp style trucks to handle something of that nature or handle a load that may be without a pallet.
Or also in certain situations where customers are handling slip sheets, they have a load carrier for the purpose of the automation within the facility, and the load carrier remains within the facility at the outbound. That solution also is implemented in certain customer locations. And also another question, James, we have from Brian asking about the floor flatness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so floor flatness, again, that's obviously important in understanding the quality and the flatness of the floor. Different requirements of floor flatness and within our floor spec are going to be required based on application type and based on lift height. So if we're in a V&A system, for example, where we're lifting goods to 40 feet high in racking, there'll be a more stringent floor requirement than for kind of the baseline floor spec for a forked vehicle handling pallets to and from floor, very low level lift heights. So we analyze that, we provide that specification, and with a lot of the systems, we bring in a third party surveyor to provide a survey of the floor.
And just to add to that, as James mentioned, there is no one solution fits all kind of a thing. For every equipment type, there are different flatness level, and as James mentioned, up to the height of lifting as well. We have partners in Canada who does the surveying of the floors, and in some situations also provides spot grinding in order to adapt for turret trucks or for AGV applications.
So I see a question here from Josh asking about the portfolio and stackers and higher weight capacities. So I mentioned that the straddle clamp and the real fork show above 10,000 pound capacity. So certain vehicles within the range can also be explored with some level of custom modification or specialty configuration. So we can explore that. Just understanding more about the load in particular and the weight and whether or not or how high it needs lifted as part of the process. But some of our vehicles do have more of a standard chassis with a particular rated capacity, and we have some vehicles that have an additional extra heavy chassis version or model for some of those extended weights. Let's see.
There's a question on centralized control system and collision detection and hazard avoidance as a function for AGVs.
Let's see here. Yep, let me read that one. So collision detection is monitored by the sensors. So again, there's a number of different sensors outfitted on the truck. Some of those are hardwired into the safety system of the truck, and so those are for operator and personnel detection. And then we have additional sensors that detect other obstacles that are more for machine protection, protecting the vehicle. So we can detect obstacles whether they are personnel or whether they are other obstacles in and around the drive path of the truck. And we also can detect obstacles that are elevated and in the potential drive path of the vehicle as well.
And there are examples of AGVs working in tandem with manually operated forklifts. So there are mixed fleet applications where Rocrich has implemented solutions. As James mentioned earlier in the presentation, these AGVs are operating predominantly with the laser navigation, so they go in pre-programmed pathways in a more repeatable and accurate manner all the time. So they are very predictable in an environment. So it will avoid any kind of human-machine or machine-machine interactions. But however, there is a traffic control software which also as a second level manages this the traffic of the AGVs. On top of it, we have mixed fleet capabilities and the sensors, the safety sensors which James talked about also helps in avoiding any safety incidents in the facility.
I see a question about charging. So we have a number of different energy systems options available for the truck. So with a lot of our fleet, we have options of either lithium-ion batteries with automatic charging stations, or also maintenance-free TPPL battery options. Also with automatic docking and charging stations, as well as offering your traditional flooded lead-acid batteries. And then I did speak earlier about kind of the unique charging strategy for the VNA application with the in-aisle bus bar system for that particular solution.
There is a question from Kevin, specifically asking about the food processing industry and applications for AGVs, especially in compliance to the HACCP guideline.
Yeah, where was that one at?
I can read the question. Do you have products or automated solutions adapted for Canadian food processing industry according to HACCP? HACCP mainly deals with the hazard analysis. But just to answer Kevin's question broadly, we do have various applications and references where we have implemented AGV solutions in food processing facilities. And of course, in Canada, we have some installations, but unfortunately, we cannot share the application and the location due to references. But we do have many in the US, which are reference sites where customers would allow other customers to come and visit them and look at their automation that they've implemented. James, you have any specific points to add to this on the other guidelines for food and beverage industry like GMP or HACCP? Would that have any kind of an impact or a driver for the automation, or it would not?
Yeah, we have a number of project sites and installations within the food and beverage industry, both in their warehousing and more packaging areas of those facilities, as well as in their full production environments as well. And we've had the capability to customize and tailor the needs of the vehicles specific to certain unique food processing environments. I do see a question here about whether the vehicles can be supported remotely by the OEM, including troubleshooting and software updates. So yes, we do have over-the-air software updates, as well as when support or troubleshooting is needed with the system. Our team of engineers and software engineers are available to diagnose and troubleshoot and resolve a lot of issues remotely. And then there may be scenarios of certain things where we need a local technician on site to support some of the remote diagnostics, and that's where either your own staff or the support of the Toromont technicians, trained Toromont technicians serving your facility would lend to that.
There's one more question which says that is a wireless communication system used by AGVs for collision detection and alerts susceptible to interference from equipment or infrastructure within the facility. So I can give a broad answer that there is a clear-cut IT guidelines or requirements that will be shared while we are proposing the AGVs for the particular facility. And sometimes we also look for dedicated SSID for Wi-Fi access so that you don't have any interference with other communications within the facility. But James, you want to add to that with some specific points?
Yeah, generally in our IT specification in terms of the network, we recommend a couple of different frequencies that the AGVs are operating on in terms of the network. So there's some options there in terms of a number of different frequency settings that could be dedicated to, or that the AGVs could communicate over versus interference from other devices and other systems.
And there's one more question from Eugene. What are some of the key lessons learned from failed or delayed automation projects, and how can they be avoided?
Yeah, well, obviously every project can be a bit unique in terms of the solution and whether or not the solution involves only the AGV solution and services and scope of work coming from Rocrich and Toromont versus additional and adjacent scopes of work that may be part of a larger scale solution. For example, one of our VNA projects involve, not only us and the VNA trucks and the software and everything related to that system, but also all new racking install in a greenfield setup. So racking, electrical, also build out of the WMS from SAP to SAP EWM. So a number of other scopes of works and contractors working together. So it's key to align and have a strong project team that's pulled together. Obviously, those are things that can cause delays and some things that we've learned some lessons in terms of aligning on scope, aligning on schedule, and also being adaptable where you can.
Those were the questions. Ritika, we didn't miss anything, right?
Yep.
I think we have to get back to Kevin on the particular point about integration with Arduino, right? That's something we will get back to Kevin offline.
Okay. Looks like we've come to the end of the webinar. Thank you so much for spending an hour with us and asking all those interesting questions. And big thank you to Hariprasad and James Fox for sharing your insights today. We hope that this session gave you a clearer understanding of the automation journey and some practical takeaways for your own operations. We'll be reaching out to all the attendees with the webinar link after the session, a recorded version, to see how we can help and whether it's answering questions, scheduling a site survey, or just simply continuing the conversation. Our contact details are available on the screen right now for your use. Thank you again for joining us today. We truly Truly appreciate it and look forward to connecting with you soon. Thank you and have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.